Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Hondos HoloNet, a podcast where we talk all about Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Disney, Lego, getting into all of the pop culture. My name is Vincent. I'm your host, and let's start off. Let me give you a little history of the show. So this show, I decided to start it because I'm just a huge fan of all things pop culture, all superheroes, all Star Wars, everything sci-fi. I love movies. I love TV. And I've wanted to start a podcast for a while. I love talking about all things, everything, and I think this is a great start to something I want to do. So, I'm going to talk about, like I said, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Disney, Lego reviews, merch reviews for everything. I'm going to go into Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, Karate Kid, The Boys, Invincible, all into different superhero and sci-fi and adventure movies. Like I said, I'm a big fan of movies. I wanted to go into the business. I like to write. I like to read scripts. I like to direct, produce, everything in that general vicinity. And I'm, by the name you can probably tell, I am a big Star Wars fan. I love everything Star Wars. Qui-Gon Jinn and Han Solo are my two favorites. I love Return of the Jedi. It's my favorite Star Wars movie and also my favorite movie just ever. I grew up watching Star Wars. As you can see in the background, I have Star Wars almost everywhere, and I'll have more coming up. This is a real quick start, but we're getting more, and each week you'll see the set gets better and better. So I say let's begin. So we're going to start off with the Andor Season 2 trailer. And I watched it a couple times, and all I could say is visually it's gorgeous. I saw the stormtrooper scenes looked awesome. The fighting, just fantastic. I was watching the scenes with all of the TIE fighters, with the X-Wings. Anything really with the vehicle just looked super awesome. I mean, we've had with Star Wars, with Marvel the past few years, we've been struggling with exactly how things have been looking, and the CGI, especially when we get into Marvel, and we'll discuss that eventually, but the CGI just doesn't always look the best, and now it seems like Star Wars is stepping up. They did real good with Skeleton Crew. I enjoyed most of the visuals in Skeleton Crew, and now with Andor Season 1, but even Andor Season 2, it looks awesome. Now, we could only tell when the show actually does come out in April, but I was a big fan of the first season, and I am real excited to see what they do with Season 2. We got to see Director Krennic in the trailer. He was awesome in Rogue One. Adopting the traditional white Imperial suit, which looks awesome. We have the Death Star being built, which surprisingly looks like the Death Star. In A New Hope, and before they blew it up, it was big, and we're gonna take a break and cut that. Sorry, so we have the Death Star coming back. We also saw the Death Star, and the Death Star, just the way it's being built. We see it being built, and we are experiencing just a whole new version. It's Prime Rebellion era. And we're looking into the rebellion and how the Death Star is coming to be, and obviously pretty soon it's going to lead right into Rogue One. So that'll be real interesting to see how it goes. Overall reactions, I mean, visually, like I said, it looks awesome. Andor was a great season. The first season was just fantastic. And Star Wars right now, for me, is on a winning streak with The Bad Batch Season 3 and Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka. We had a few blips here and there, but they're winning right now, so if we could do real good with Andor Season 2, I'll be excited. I'll stay excited. I always have high hopes for everything that Star Wars comes out, even if I know it might be a little bit poopy. But I'm excited to see what happens with Andor season 2, and how they're gonna bring in all the characters that we know from Rogue One. We see K2SO coming in. I think K2SO is the droid. We see him coming in, and we see Saw Gerrera, and of course the Skarsgård. What's his name? I can't think of his name, but he's coming back into this next season. So yeah, it's shaping to be a pretty good season, and maybe it'll eventually tie into whether that's Ahsoka season 2, or there'll be pieces there, here and there in Ahsoka season 2, and eventually the Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out next year. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let's go on to the Elimination Chamber. So this past weekend we got to see the WWE Elimination Chamber, and I just want to go over a little bit of what happened. So we got Jade returns. Jade Cargill came back and she beat up Naomi. Jade Cargill knows that it wasn't Liv Morgan and Raquel who beat up Jade, that it was Naomi. And then we go on to see Bianca winning the Women's Rumble, facing off now Io Sky, possibly a triple threat between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca for the title. But just recently on Monday Night Raw, Rhea lost the title to Io, so we could definitely see triple threat, or it'll just be Bianca versus Io, which will be real interesting to see as we go on. We got the scene with KO and Sammy. Obviously that was very brutal. It was a great match, but KO did come out with the win, kicking Sammy's ass more or less, and that was bloody, and it was a great unsanctioned match. I was at the Monday Night Raw where they announced Sammy will be fighting KO at the Elimination Chamber in an unsanctioned match, and I was excited to see it, and it happened, and I don't even know, it was a great match. And then Randy Orton comes out, and Randy Orton returns, and Randy's pissed because Randy was put in the hospital by Kevin. So Randy comes out and Randy kicks KO's ass. I mean, KO now is pretty beat and bruised after his match with Sammy, but all's fair in WWE. And Randy came back, and now Randy is ready to kick ass and get back at Kevin for putting him in the hospital, more or less. Then, of course, the big thing, Cena won the men's, not Royal Rumble, whoopsies. Cena wins the Elimination Chamber, facing off Cody in WrestleMania 41, which will be perfect because he turned heel and he joined The Rock. Last couple of weeks, The Rock has proposed an offer to Cody to become his champion, and Cody, obviously at the Elimination Chamber, he refused, and it seems like Cena's getting hyped up and excited until Cena turns heel and beats up Cody, with Cody, who now has no help. All we know is Cody is going to need a team if he's going to fight off against Cena, The Rock, and apparently Travis Scott, who gave him a busted eardrum and a bad eye. Honestly, overall thoughts, it was a great match. It was a great follow-up. All the matches were great. It was a fantastic follow-up to the Royal Rumble, which just happened weeks before. I enjoyed the Royal Rumble. I'm so happy Jay won. I was, besides CM Punk, that was my number one choice. Really wanted Jay to win, to face off Gunther, just to get that champion. Jay deserves it. Jay needs it. With the Elimination Chamber, I enjoyed one of the few PLEs that I enjoyed every match. I was able to sit through, and I didn't see anything. The Stratton and Stratus match was something else, but again, it was more of a filler, breather match, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, just match after match, we got to see it just kept on getting more brutal, and Cena turning heel really just put the cherry on top. I mean, people, whether you expected it or not, I mean, it was a shock to see that it actually happened, to see that The Rock actually got to Cena and got him, to turn, which you don't expect from a guy like John Cena. But but we got to see that, and that was just great, and I enjoyed the whole thing. It was just a great PLE, and I hope to see, I hope that the story plays out well in the next few months leading up to WrestleMania. Alright, yeah, so we got the Lego Beauty and the Beast castle coming later on, April 4th of 2025 to be exact. I personally cannot wait. I've been down at the bottom of my collection. You could see my Legos. I have my Peter Pan one and my Disney 100 camera. I have my James Bond car, and in most of these boxes are Legos. So I'm a big Lego guy. I have been wanting the Disney Cinderella castle since I started making my own money. The minifigures they have are Lumiere, Cogsworth, Gaston. What's Gaston's lackey's name? I can't think of his name. Maurice, Beast, Belle, Mrs. Potts, Chip, and there's another one, but I'm not 100% sure. I love the minifigures. I think they all look really cool. My biggest problem is with the Beast. They did one of the ones where his head just attaches. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think the head looks like the Beast, and I'm not overall just not a huge fan of what the Beast looks like. Other than that, I think the set is beautiful. I think the minifigures, and it's a very detailed set, and it's a great set. Oh, and the other minifigure is Lumiere's girlfriend, the Duster, by the way. So yeah, overall, it's a great set. It's spaceship. You could turn the Beast into Prince Adam, so they really put a lot of effort, which Lego has been stepping up their game when it does come to Legos, with especially the bigger sets. They've really put in effort to make sure everything looks decently well. So I'm very excited to see the future sets that they come out, but just this Beauty and the Beast set on its own, cannot wait to build. I cannot wait to get. It looks like it's going to cost around $250. That all depends on when it actually comes out, if they stick to it. But I can't wait to build the set. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice big set, and it's just a great set. I'll put a picture up so everybody can see it. Okay, and finally, we got Daredevil Born Again. The first season came out on Tuesday. I am a big Daredevil fan. Daredevil is my favorite Marvel hero. I love the Netflix show. I dress up as him for Halloween. I will also put a picture of that in somewhere. I love Daredevil. I binged the whole original Netflix show and the whole Defenders universe on Netflix. A little after it came out, when I started getting into Marvel, I got in at around 2017, right before Infinity War came out in 2018, and I watched that when I was in high school around 2019, 2020, and I'm just a big Defenders fan, especially, again, Daredevil. I had my teacher, Dr. Schulte, who's a great artist, draw me Daredevil. I'm a huge Daredevil fan. And I plan on getting more. I have Daredevil action figures, and once everything goes up, it'll actually be full and complete. But when they announced that they were keeping Charlie Cox and doing another season of Daredevil, I was beyond excited. I love Charlie Cox as Daredevil. He, as Matt Murdock, he as Daredevil, is just fantastic. Him and even a small cameo in No Way Home, I just thought he was great. He was in it for not even 5 minutes, and the scene where he caught the brick was, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like, wow, he's blind. Like, he's Daredevil. It's great. So then they announced little by little Foggy and Karen, they're coming back, and obviously Kingpin is coming back. Then they went further and said, yeah, well, Frank Castle is coming back, and he'll be the Punisher, and it'll be John Bernthal again. And actually today they just announced that Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist will all probably make a cameo in season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, which is filming shortly after this. So, anyways, to the episode. I watched Echo not too long ago, and I was real interested with how they're going to actually put up Kingpin being mayor. And one thing I was interested in, I think I messaged my friend right after I finished, I said, but what about his eye? And in the first two episodes of Daredevil, you see the scar, and in Hawkeye he got shot in the head by or in the eye by Echo, and they've played that off really well as that he just has money and he could fix, get a fake eye and get it all whatever. So they started off with, of course, Foggy Nelson dying. Bullseye came back and Bullseye killed Foggy to get back at what Foggy and Matthew did, in court, and what Matthew did as Daredevil to Bullseye in season 3 of Daredevil. So Foggy dies, and it was emotional. I mean, it's hard to get emotional when it's a character that you haven't seen in a couple of years because Netflix ended, nobody thought he was coming back, people stopped caring. I stopped caring. I mean, I loved the character in the original Daredevil show, and I couldn't care. So when he did die, it was something I was like, oh, whatever. I mean, it is moving along the story. They took Bullseye to court. They took, and the guy who plays Bullseye, I can't think of his name either. I can't think of his name, but he is fantastic. I loved him in season 3 of Daredevil. But they took him to court. He goes to jail. This is now Karen moved to San Francisco, and this is the first time you're seeing Karen and Matt together after a year. And they've really I was a little shaky when they first started the show. It started off where they were at a bar and they were celebrating, and that's when Foggy passed and Matt and Bullseye had a whole fight. You see Matt in his Daredevil costume, and it just honestly looked awful. I mean, I was afraid that, the CGI was going to stay on that path the whole time. And I'm not a big complainer when it does come to CGI or when it comes to all those type of things, but I saw the CGI for the first time and I was like, I'm not a fan. I mean, this Daredevil, he was swinging through the city with his billy clubs, and although it was like finally we get to see that, it was like, wow, it looks like there was very little effort. And then throughout the next, that episode and the next episode, they kind of enhanced it, and by the second episode, when, we'll get to it, when he fought off the cops, I mean, it just looked perfect. And it looked like Daredevil did back on Netflix. So, anyways, you go through the first episode, he and his friend, the lady, now opened up their own law firm, and he took a step back from Daredevil, but now Wilson Fisk ran and won the mayoral race in New York. So now Matthew is fighting his inner demon, saying, well, I talked to Fisk and he's trying to change for the better, but he also threatened me, and he's also not a good guy. I mean, we know Wilson Fisk from whether it's the comics, whether it's Daredevil, Echo, Hawkeye, wherever we know Wilson Fisk from, we know he's not a good guy. I mean, even in the Spider-Man video game, he's not a good guy. So we know he's just a bad person. And now Matthew is fighting with that on the inside, like, he's awful. I mean, he's a terrible person. He shouldn't be the mayor of New York City, and now everybody's celebrating him, and he won, and everybody in New York seems to be backing him. We got a little bit of insider, which I personally enjoy, the BB Urick. She's going around talking to New Yorkers about how they feel about different aspects, whether it's White Tiger or Daredevil or Wilson Fisk as mayor, and we get to see the difference between how everyday, people in New York, how they feel about different events and different things going on in the city at the time. So that part's real interesting to me. I like the way they're going, to see a more insider perspective of people who really, in the grand scheme of things, don't matter. As in, we always get to see Daredevil or Spider-Man or any of the main heroes or their side or the side characters. We always get to see how they feel, but we never get to see how the everyday New Yorker or how the everyday Russian feels in the greater MCU world. So it's very interesting to see that, and people are torn. The city is starting to get torn apart between Wilson Fisk and him being Mayor Wilson. Fisk decided to say that anytime there is a vigilante, he mentioned Punisher, Daredevil, and Spider-Man. He said whenever there are vigilantes, they shouldn't be the ones saving, it should be the NYPD. And obviously Matt Murdock is like, well, we're doing a lot more and we're actually protecting people and saving people. And Fisk comes back at him and it's like, well, you'll go to jail. Like, if you decide to put on the suit again, you and any of your friends will get in trouble and will go to jail. So overall, the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again I loved them. Now, I don't think they were on Netflix level. I don't even think they have to be on the Netflix level. I think they just have to be good enough to survive, make the show enjoyable. And so far, it has been enjoyable. Every week I will do an episode review of Born Again. But I think that the show just as a whole has been, so far, it's been living up to my hopes, and I believe that if Marvel goes down this path and continues, I think that Daredevil will fit pretty well into, the greater New York world inside of the MCU. 'Cause then we got the second episode where White Tiger is now in court for defending a man who clearly 2 corrupt cops were beating on, and one of the cops got hit by the train. They were in the train station when the cops fell in and tripped and got hit by the train. And now he's in court for being a cop killer. And Daredevil, Matt Murdock, is defending him in court because he knows that he's not lying. I mean, Matt has the sense where he can tell with the heartbeat. Matt wants to defend him because Matt knows that as a vigilante that he was doing the right thing and that he didn't mean to kill, and he believes that what happened was really an accident. Anyways, what I was saying was you got all these different things. Matthew knows that White Tiger is not a bad guy, and we got all these different things running together, so we never really know. We could say it'll be really good because of the first 2 episodes. We could say it'll be really bad, but we can't tell until they progress, and each week they will do. We will see if it gets better or worse. So that's everything I had planned for this first episode. As you could see, I'm not really used to this. I'm not an on-camera kind of guy. I like to be behind the cameras, but I'm having fun. So each week, just like my set, we'll grow and we'll learn and we'll get better, and we'll figure it out. But next week we'll cover a few things. We'll hit on Daredevil episode 3 review, and honestly, the rest we'll find out throughout the week. But thank you everybody for watching, and have a good rest of your week.